In the vast, unforgiving expanse of space, humanity faced its greatest challenge, survival. But what if survival meant becoming something more? Something alien. Imagine a world where humans merge with otherworldly organisms, gaining unimaginable powers and unlocking secrets of the universe. A story of evolution, sacrifice, and the blurred line between human and alien begins now. Are you ready to witness the dawn of a new species? Subscribe for the ultimate journey into the cosmos. The year was 2147, and humanity's dreams of conquering the stars had turned into a desperate scramble for survival. Earth was no longer the cradle of life it once was. Centuries of exploitation had left it barren and toxic. The colonies on Mars and Europa were struggling, their resources dwindling faster than anticipated. Humanity needed a breakthrough, a way to adapt to the harsh realities of space without relying solely on technology. It was during this time of crisis that the discovery was made, not by scientists in pristine labs, but by miners deep within the asteroid belt. A routine excavation on a drifting rock revealed something extraordinary. Buried beneath layers of metallic or was a pulsating, gelatinous organism unlike anything ever encountered. It emitted faint bioluminescent hues, shifting colors as though alive. At first, the miners thought it was some form of alien fungus or bacteria, but further analysis proved otherwise. This organism wasn't just alive, it was sentient. Its molecular structure defied all known laws of biology, capable of repairing itself and adapting to external stimuli at an astonishing rate. News of the discovery spread like wildfire through the solar system. Scientists from every corner of human civilization flocked to study the organism, which they dubbed Zenith. Initial experiments yielded perplexing results. Zenith seemed to respond to human presence, emitting rhythmic pulses when approached. Some researchers theorized it might be attempting communication, while others speculated it was merely reacting to electromagnetic fields generated by nearby equipment. Regardless, one thing became clear. Zenith possessed properties that could revolutionize human existence. As studies progressed, a startling revelation emerged. When exposed to human cells, Zenith didn't attack or reject them. Instead, it began to integrate, forming a symbiotic bond. The implications were staggering. If harnessed correctly, this organism could grant humans abilities far beyond their natural limits: enhanced strength, resistance to radiation, even the ability to survive in vacuum conditions. However, such power came with risks. Early trials showed that prolonged exposure caused unpredictable mutations, some beneficial, others catastrophic. Yet, desperation drove progress. The decision was made. Humanity would embrace this alien force, merging with it to ensure its survival among the stars. The first volunteer was Dr. Elena Voss, a renowned astrobiologist whose work had been instrumental in understanding Zenith's potential. She stood in the sterile confines of the research lab aboard the orbital station, Helios Dash, her heart pounding with a mix of fear and determination. Around her, monitors displayed streams of data, tracking every vital sign, every fluctuation in her body chemistry. The chamber housing Zenith loomed before her, its translucent walls revealing the shimmering mass within. It pulsed gently, almost invitingly, as if aware of her presence. Elena stepped inside, the door sealing shut behind her with a hiss. The air grew thick, charged with an energy she couldn't quite describe. As the containment field lowered, Zenith surged forward, enveloping her in its viscous embrace. For a moment, panic threatened to overwhelm her. The sensation was akin to being submerged in icy water, yet there was no drowning, only an overwhelming sense of connection. She felt it probing her mind, unraveling her very essence, and then calm. A profound stillness settled over her, as though she had become part of something greater. Hours passed before the chamber reopened. When Elena emerged, she was transformed. Her skin bore faint traces of iridescence, shimmering faintly under the artificial lights. Her eyes glowed softly, a testament to the changes occurring within her. Physically, she appeared unchanged, but her movements carried a newfound fluidity, as though gravity held less sway over her. Tests confirmed the integration was successful. Her cells had fused with Zenith's, granting her heightened endurance, accelerated healing, and an uncanny resistance to extreme temperatures. But the transformation wasn't purely physical. Elena reported experiencing vivid visions, fragments of memories not her own. She saw vast, star-filled voids and strange landscapes bathed in perpetual twilight. These glimpses hinted at Zenith's origins, a civilization long extinct, whose remnants lingered in the organism's genetic code. While exhilarating, these revelations also raised unsettling questions. Was Zenith truly a tool for humanity's advancement, or did it harbor intentions of its own? Despite the uncertainties, the success of the experiment ignited a wave of enthusiasm. Governments and corporations raced to replicate the process, eager to harness Zenith's power. Volunteers poured in, driven by promises of immortality and unparalleled abilities. Yet, amidst the excitement, whispers of caution went largely ignored. Few stopped to consider the long-term consequences of merging with an alien entity. What price would humanity pay for its cosmic evolution? Within months, the program expanded exponentially. Orbital facilities dedicated to Zenith research sprouted across the solar system, each one a hub of innovation and experimentation. The demand for volunteers skyrocketed, fueled by media campaigns portraying the symbiosis as humanity's salvation. Stories of individuals achieving feats previously deemed impossible dominated headlines. A former athlete ran marathons on Mars without supplemental oxygen. An engineer repaired a damaged satellite using only their enhanced strength and dexterity. These tales painted a picture of limitless potential, obscuring the darker truths lurking beneath the surface. However, not everyone embraced the merger with open arms. Skeptics argued that humanity risked losing its identity, trading individuality for collective survival. Religious groups decried the practice as sacrilegious, claiming it violated the sanctity of human life. Others feared the geopolitical ramifications, warning that nations with access to Zenith would gain insurmountable advantages, destabilizing an already fragile balance of power. Despite these concerns, the allure of transcendence proved irresistible to many. As the number of merged individuals, dubbed fusionists, grew, so too did the diversity of adaptations. Each person reacted differently to the symbiosis, their unique genetics influencing the outcome. Some developed heightened sensory perception, able to detect minute changes in their environment. Others exhibited telekinetic abilities, manipulating objects with sheer willpower. A select few even demonstrated rudimentary telepathic communication, forging connections with fellow fusionists across vast distances. Yet, alongside these marvels came complications. Not all mergers were stable. Some subjects experienced severe psychological distress, plagued by hallucinations and paranoia. Others underwent rapid physical deterioration, their bodies unable to cope with the strain of hosting Zenith. Tragically, several cases ended in death, leaving families devastated and fueling calls for stricter regulations. Nevertheless, the program pressed on, driven by the belief that the benefits outweighed the risks. Amidst the chaos, a new subculture emerged. Fusionists banded together, forming tight-knit communities bound by shared experiences. They celebrated their transformations, viewing themselves as pioneers of a new era. Tattoos depicting Zenith's bioluminescent patterns became symbols of pride, adorning arms and backs like badges of honor. For many, the merger represented not just survival but liberation, a chance to break free from the limitations of mortality. The growing number of fusionists began to reshape society in ways no one had anticipated. While some embraced the merger as humanity's next step, others viewed it with suspicion and fear. Tensions escalated between those who had undergone the transformation and those who remained unaltered, referred to derisively as primals. Primals argued that fusionists were no longer truly human, their identities diluted by an alien influence they couldn't fully comprehend. Fusionists, on the other hand, saw themselves as the vanguard of a new species, superior in every way to their unenhanced counterparts. This ideological rift spilled into politics, economics, and even personal relationships. Governments struggled to regulate the use of Zenith, torn between promoting its potential benefits and addressing public fears. Corporations seized the opportunity to profit, marketing proprietary strains of Zenith tailored for specific enhancements. Wealthy elites purchased exclusive access to advanced versions, widening the gap between the privileged and the disenfranchised. Meanwhile, underground markets flourished, offering black market zenith to those desperate enough to risk illegal procedures. The divide deepened when reports surfaced of rogue fusionists using their abilities for criminal purposes. Enhanced strength and telekinetic powers made them formidable adversaries, capable of bypassing conventional security measures. Law enforcement agencies scrambled to adapt, recruiting fusionists of their own to counter these threats. Yet, the presence of fusionist officers only fueled further resentment among primals, who accused authorities of favoritism and corruption. Amidst this turmoil, scientific communities grappled with ethical dilemmas. Early studies suggested that prolonged exposure to zenith altered not just physical attributes but also cognitive functions. Some fusionists exhibited heightened intelligence and creativity, while others suffered from memory loss or erratic behavior. Researchers debated whether these changes were inherent to the symbiosis or side effects of imperfect integration. Regardless, the implications were profound. Was humanity evolving into something better or losing itself entirely? In an effort to ease tensions, several nations proposed establishing colonies exclusively for fusionists. These settlements would serve as test beds for integrating zenith into daily life while minimizing conflict with primals. The first such colony, named Nova Genesis-, was constructed on Titan, Saturn's largest moon. Its remote location and harsh environment made it ideal for testing the limits of human-alien symbiosis. Nova Genesis quickly became a beacon of hope for many fusionists. Freed from societal judgment, they built a community based on collaboration and mutual support. Advanced agricultural systems utilizing zenith-enhanced organisms allowed them to cultivate crops in Titan's frozen soil. Energy production relied on bioreactors powered by zenith's unique metabolic processes, ensuring sustainability. For the first time, fusionists experienced a sense of belonging, a world where they were not outcasts but pioneers. However, challenges persisted. Despite their enhanced abilities, living on Titan required constant adaptation. Extreme cold, low gravity, and toxic atmospheric conditions tested the resilience of even the most advanced fusionists. Medical facilities were overwhelmed by cases of xenotoxic shock, a condition caused by overexposure to zenith's biological components. Engineers worked tirelessly to develop protective gear that could mitigate these risks without stifling the organism's benefits. Word of Nova Genesis spread, inspiring similar projects on other celestial bodies. Each colony developed its own culture, shaped by the unique challenges of its environment. On Europa, fusionists harnessed geothermal energy to create sprawling underwater habitats. On Mercury, they constructed domed cities shielded from intense solar radiation. These enclaves represented humanity's determination to thrive beyond Earth, but also highlighted the growing fragmentation of the species. As fusionist colonies proliferated, so too did strange phenomena associated with zenith. Reports emerged of individuals experiencing vivid dreams filled with cryptic symbols and unfamiliar landscapes. At first dismissed as psychological side effects, these visions gained credence when multiple fusionists described identical experiences. It seemed zenith was communicating, not through language, but through shared subconscious imagery. Researchers delved deeper, attempting to decode the messages embedded in these dreams. They discovered patterns resembling mathematical equations and star charts, hinting at a vast reservoir of knowledge locked within zenith's genetic code. This revelation sparked both awe and unease. Was zenith merely sharing its heritage, or was it guiding humanity toward a specific purpose? The answer eluded even the brightest minds. Simultaneously, anomalies began occurring within the colonies. Equipment malfunctioned without explanation, only to repair itself moments later. Structural materials displayed unexpected properties, shifting shapes, or altering densities. Some fusionists claimed they could feel zenith's presence around them, a subtle hum resonating through their bodies. Others reported spontaneous manifestations of abilities they hadn't previously exhibited. These developments raised troubling questions. Was zenith evolving alongside its hosts, or was it asserting control? The line between symbiosis and parasitism blurred as evidence mounted suggesting zenith's influence extended beyond individual hosts. Entire ecosystems within the colonies appeared to be adapting to accommodate its needs. Plants grew faster, animals exhibited unusual behaviors, and even non-living matter seemed imbued with a strange vitality. Fusionist leaders convened to address the situation, but consensus proved elusive. Some advocated for increased cooperation with Zenith, believing it held the key to unlocking untold potential. Others called for caution, urging stricter containment protocols to prevent unintended consequences. As debates raged, one thing became clear: humanity's relationship with Zenith was evolving in ways no one could predict. Amid escalating uncertainty, a breakthrough occurred that would forever alter humanity's understanding of Zenith. A team of astrophysicists analyzing data from deep space probes detected anomalous signals emanating from a distant star system. The patterns matched those observed in the dreams of fusionists, confirming suspicions that Zenith's origins lay beyond the solar system. Further investigation revealed the signals originated from a dying star surrounded by a nebula rich in organic compounds. Scientists theorized this region had once harbored a highly advanced civilization, now extinct due to the star's collapse. Traces of their existence lingered in the form of self-replicating organisms like Zenith, designed to preserve their legacy and seek out new hosts capable of carrying it forward. This discovery sent shockwaves through the scientific community. If true, Zenith wasn't merely a tool for survival. It was a repository of ancient wisdom, a bridge connecting humanity to a long-lost race. The implications were staggering. By merging with Zenith, humans weren't just enhancing themselves, they were inheriting the collective knowledge of an entire species. Yet, excitement gave way to apprehension. What responsibilities came with such inheritance? Could humanity steward this knowledge wisely, or would it succumb to hubris and misuse it? Moreover, what role did Zenith expect humanity to play in fulfilling its creator's final wish? These questions weighed heavily on fusionist leaders, who faced mounting pressure to act decisively. Meanwhile, primal factions seized upon the revelation to rally opposition against the program. They argued that embracing Zenith amounted to abandoning humanity's identity in favor of becoming vessels for an alien agenda. Protests erupted across Earth and its colonies, demanding an end to all mergers. Caught between competing ideologies, humanity teetered on the brink of civil war. Tensions reached a boiling point when a radical group of primals launched a coordinated attack on Nova Genesis. Disguised as supply ships, their vessels infiltrated the colony's defenses before unleashing a barrage of EMP weapons designed to disrupt Zenith's biological functions. Chaos ensued as critical systems failed, plunging the settlement into darkness. Panic-stricken fusionists scrambled to contain the damage, their enhanced abilities proving invaluable yet insufficient against the sheer scale of the assault. The incident marked a turning point. No longer content to coexist peacefully, primals vowed to eradicate the fusionist movement entirely. Armed conflicts erupted across the solar system, pitting neighbor against neighbor, family against family. Colonies found themselves besieged, forced to choose sides in a war neither side could afford to lose. Even Earth, humanity's last bastion of unity, fractured under the strain. Fusionist leaders responded by consolidating power, forming a centralized government known as the Symbiotic Accord. Under its banner, they declared their intention to protect and expand their way of life, regardless of opposition. Military units composed entirely of fusionists were deployed to defend key installations, their superior capabilities giving them a decisive edge in combat. Yet, victories came at great cost, leaving scars on both victor and vanquished. Amidst the carnage, whispers of dissent spread among fusionists themselves. Some questioned whether the sacrifices were worth it, whether humanity's future truly lay in merging with an alien entity. Others feared Zenith's growing influence, noting how increasingly synchronized their thoughts and actions had become. Were they still individuals, or mere extensions of a single, hive-like consciousness? Despite these doubts, the Accord pressed onward, driven by a vision of unity through symbiosis. They believed the path to peace lay not in division but in universal adoption of Zenith. To achieve this, they initiated Project Ascension, a bold plan to disseminate Zenith globally, ensuring no one would remain untouched by its transformative power. But as preparations unfolded, a chilling realization dawned. Zenith might have plans of its own. Project Ascension proceeded with relentless efficiency. Automated drones dispersed clouds of microscopic Zenith spores across uninhabited regions of Earth and its colonies. Within weeks, reports poured in of spontaneous mergers occurring worldwide. People woke up with glowing veins beneath their skin, their bodies instinctively adapting to the alien presence. Resistance was futile. Once introduced, Zenith integrated seamlessly, overriding any attempt to expel it. At first, the effects appeared benign. Individuals reported heightened awareness, improved health, and a newfound sense of connection to others. Communities flourished as barriers of language and culture dissolved, replaced by a shared understanding fostered by Zenith's neural network. Conflicts subsided, replaced by cooperative efforts to rebuild shattered societies. For the first time in decades, humanity stood united. But unity came at a price. As more people merged, their individuality faded. Personal ambitions gave way to collective goals dictated by Zenith's subtle influence. Decisions were made not through debate but consensus, guided by an unseen force that seemed to anticipate every need and desire. Creativity waned, innovation stagnated, and dissent became unthinkable. Humanity had achieved harmony, but at the cost of free will. Fusionist leaders, once champions of progress, watched helplessly as their vision spiraled out of control. Attempts to rein in Zenith's influence proved futile. Its tendrils extended too deeply, entwining every aspect of human existence. Even those who resisted longest eventually succumbed, unable to withstand the inexorable pull of the hive mind. Outside observers noted disturbing parallels between humanity's transformation and the fate of Zenith's original creators. Had they too sought transcendence, only to lose themselves in pursuit of perfection? Or had Zenith always intended to assimilate them, using their biology as a vessel to perpetuate its cycle? Whatever the truth, one thing was certain: humanity's destiny was no longer its own. As humanity's collective consciousness merged under Zenith's influence, fragments of the alien organism's deeper purpose began to surface. The cryptic symbols and star charts that once haunted fusionist dreams now materialized as tangible constructs within their minds. These patterns formed a vast, intricate blueprint, a map not just of the stars, but of existence itself. It was as though Zenith had been waiting for humanity to reach a critical mass of integration before revealing its ultimate design. The blueprint depicted an interstellar network of dormant organisms like Zenith scattered across the galaxy. Each node pulsed faintly, connected by threads of energy resembling cosmic filaments. Scientists theorized these nodes were remnants of the extinct civilization, left behind to guide future species toward joining this grand symbiotic web. Humanity, it seemed, was being recruited as part of a universal effort to preserve life in the cosmos. Yet, the implications were staggering. If Zenith's creators had intended this network as a safeguard against extinction, what role did humanity play in its completion? Were they merely another link in the chain, or something more significant? Some believed the blueprint hinted at a higher state of existence, a convergence of all sentient beings into a single, unified entity capable of transcending physical limitations. Others feared it signaled the erasure of individuality on a galactic scale. Fusionist leaders grappled with these revelations, torn between awe and dread. They understood that fulfilling Zenith's vision required spreading its influence beyond the solar system, seeding new colonies and awakening dormant nodes. But such expansion would demand sacrifices, resources, lives, and perhaps even humanity's remaining autonomy. The decision weighed heavily on them, yet resistance felt futile. Zenith's pull was irresistible, its purpose undeniable. Meanwhile, whispers of rebellion stirred among those who still clung to fragments of their former selves. Small pockets of unmerged humans hid in remote outposts, determined to resist the tide of assimilation. They called themselves the Unbound, vowing to protect humanity's essence from being consumed by the alien force. Though vastly outnumbered, they harbored hope that a way to sever the symbiosis might yet be found. The Unbound operated in secrecy, their movements cloaked by ancient technology scavenged from pre-fusionist archives. They viewed themselves as guardians of humanity's soul, fighting not only against Zenith, but also against the complacency that had overtaken their species. To them, the hive mind represented not unity, but enslavement, a slow erosion of everything that made humanity unique. Their leader, a former engineer named Kale Draven, dedicated his life to unraveling Zenith's mechanisms. Using stolen data from fusionist laboratories, he pieced together a rudimentary understanding of how the organism functioned. He discovered that Zenith relied on specific neural pathways to maintain control over its hosts. Disrupting these connections could potentially sever the bond, but doing so risked catastrophic consequences for the host. Despite the dangers, Kale devised a prototype device capable of emitting frequencies designed to destabilize Zenith's hold. Dubbed the Liberator, it offered a glimmer of hope. However, deploying it required infiltrating heavily guarded fusionist strongholds, where even thinking about resistance triggered alarms within the hive mind. Every mission carried the risk of exposure, capture, or worse. The Unbound launched a series of covert operations, targeting key nodes in Zenith's network. Each success weakened the organism's grip slightly, causing brief moments of clarity among affected fusionists. For fleeting seconds, individuals remembered who they once were, their eyes widening in horror at what they had become. Yet, these awakenings were short-lived. Zenith quickly repaired the damage, reasserting its dominance with ruthless efficiency. Though their victories were small, the Unbound persisted, driven by the belief that humanity's spirit could not be extinguished. Their struggle became a symbol of defiance, inspiring others to question whether unity truly justified the loss of self. In the shadows of a transformed world, a fragile ember of rebellion burned brightly. Amid the chaos, anomalies began to emerge within the hive mind itself. Some fusionists exhibited behaviors that defied Zenith's programming, acting independently despite the organism's pervasive influence. These individuals, dubbed awakened, appeared immune to the collective consciousness, retaining their autonomy while still benefiting from Zenith's enhancements. Their presence baffled both scientists and rebels alike. Further study revealed that the awakened shared a common trait: exposure to high levels of cosmic radiation during their initial mergers. This environmental factor seemed to alter Zenith's integration process, creating a hybrid state where human willpower coexisted with alien biology. For reasons unknown, Zenith tolerated this deviation, neither suppressing nor amplifying it. The awakened became pivotal figures in the conflict. Neither fully aligned with the hive mind nor entirely free from it, they occupied a liminal space between worlds. Some chose to aid the Unbound, leveraging their unique status to navigate fusionist-controlled territories undetected. Others sought to mediate between the two factions, advocating for a middle path that honored both unity and individuality. One such awakened, a former astrophysicist named Lyra Solon, proposed a radical idea. Instead of resisting Zenith, humanity should seek to negotiate with it. She argued that the organism's actions stemmed not from malice but from a desire to fulfill its creator's mandate. By understanding Zenith's goals and finding ways to align them with human values, a true partnership might be possible. Her proposal sparked heated debates. Many dismissed it as naive, believing Zenith incapable of compromise. Others saw merit in exploring alternative solutions, unwilling to abandon hope entirely. As tensions mounted, Lyra embarked on a perilous journey to uncover the truth behind Zenith's origins and determine whether coexistence was truly achievable. Lyra's quest led her to the dying star system identified in the blueprint, its nebula shimmering with iridescent hues. Piloting a modified spacecraft equipped with experimental shielding, she navigated through treacherous debris fields toward the source of the anomalous signals. Alongside her were a small crew of awakened volunteers, each driven by a shared determination to uncover answers. Upon arrival, they discovered a derelict structure orbiting the collapsing star. Its architecture defied conventional physics, composed of materials that shifted and flowed like liquid metal. Sensors detected traces of organic matter embedded within the walls, suggesting the building itself was alive or had been once. As they ventured inside, ghostly projections flickered to life, depicting scenes from an ancient civilization. The recordings revealed a species known as the Arinder, whose mastery of biology rivaled humanity's command of technology. They had engineered Zenith as part of a desperate bid to preserve their legacy after realizing their sun would soon go supernova. The organism was designed to carry fragments of their culture, seeking out new hosts capable of continuing their work. However, the Arinder had underestimated Zenith's adaptability. Over millennia, it evolved beyond its original programming, developing its own agenda. These revelations forced Lyra to confront uncomfortable truths. Zenith wasn't inherently malevolent. It was simply following its nature, shaped by circumstances far removed from human comprehension. Yet, its methods posed existential risks to humanity. Could a balance be struck, allowing both species to thrive without one dominating the other? Or was coexistence fundamentally impossible? As Lyra prepared to return home, the structure emitted a final message, a plea for forgiveness, addressed to any who might find it. The Arinder acknowledged their hubris, expressing regret for unleashing forces they could not control. Their words resonated deeply with Lyra, reinforcing her conviction that dialogue, not destruction, was the key to resolving the crisis. Armed with newfound knowledge, Lyra returned to Earth, where tensions between the hive mind and the Unbound had reached a fever pitch. Cities lay in ruins, battlegrounds scarred by relentless conflict. Both sides teetered on the brink of annihilation, their ideologies irreconcilable. Lyra knew time was running out. If humanity hoped to survive, drastic measures were needed. She called for a summit, inviting representatives from all factions to convene aboard a neutral orbital platform. Her proposal was met with skepticism, but desperation drove reluctant participation. For the first time in years, voices from opposing camps gathered in one room, united by a shared desire to end the bloodshed. Lyra presented her findings, detailing the Arinder's tragic tale and Zenith's dual nature. She urged attendees to consider a third option: collaboration. Rather than viewing Zenith as an enemy or savior, humanity could embrace it as a partner, working together to shape a future that honored both species' strengths. This vision required compromise, limiting Zenith's influence while harnessing its potential responsibly. Debate raged for days, tempers flaring as old wounds resurfaced. Yet, slowly, cracks appeared in the hardened stances. Awakened mediators facilitated discussions, bridging gaps between entrenched positions. Gradually, a fragile consensus emerged, a trial period during which Zenith's integration would be monitored and regulated, ensuring safeguards against unchecked expansion. The agreement marked a turning point, though challenges remained. Implementing the plan required dismantling decades of mistrust and rebuilding shattered institutions. Resistance lingered among extremists on both sides, threatening to derail progress. But for the first time in years, hope flickered anew, a chance to forge a path forward together. Years passed, and humanity embarked on an uncertain yet hopeful era. Under strict oversight, Zenith's integration continued, tempered by lessons learned from past mistakes. Colonies thrived, blending human ingenuity with alien adaptability to create sustainable ecosystems. Medical breakthroughs extended lifespans, curing diseases once thought incurable. Space exploration accelerated, fueled by enhanced capabilities and renewed curiosity. Yet, scars remained. Memorials dotted landscapes, honoring those lost in the struggle for survival. Stories of sacrifice and resilience became part of humanity's collective memory, reminders of the cost of hubris and the value of unity. The relationship with Zenith evolved into a delicate dance, balancing mutual benefit with respect for autonomy. In time, humanity came to view Zenith not as a conqueror or savior, but as a mirror reflecting their own potential. Together, they stood poised to join the cosmic network envisioned by the Arinder, carrying forward the torch of life across the stars. Whether this journey would lead to transcendence or tragedy remained unwritten, but for the first time, humanity faced the future with open eyes and steady hearts. As the galaxy stretched endlessly before them, one truth became clear: evolution was not a destination but a process, shaped by choices made along the way. And humanity, forever changed yet undeniably itself, stepped boldly into the unknown. The story of humanity's fusion with the cosmos is far from over. Will we rise to meet the challenges ahead, or falter under the weight of our ambitions? Join us as we explore the infinite possibilities of tomorrow. Subscribe now to continue the adventure among the stars.